At the prison in Dallas, Texas, where Josh Duggar is incarcerated, inmates have been forced to shower in moldy, murky water and defecate in paper bags. Duggar, 37, is serving a 151-month sentence for child pornography at FCI Seawald. His expected release date is December 23, 2032. Heather Pirtle, the founder of First Network, a nonprofit that enables relatives of inmates to report issues at Federal Bureau of Prisons facilities in an effort to effect change, spoke exclusively with the U.S. Sun. In the exclusive interview, Pirtle details the inhumane and gruesome circumstances that FCI Seawald inmates allegedly endure at the Dallas jail and the FBOP's facilities, including bathing in murky water and urinating in paper bags. Given the state of affairs inside Seawald and the units, it's going to be a standardization that applies pretty much across the FBOP nationwide in that the conditions are old, said Pirtle. There may be mold growing on the walls, feces all over the floor, or even walls that are crumbling down. Generally speaking, they are not allowed to use chemicals. Thus, disinfection products are not used very often. It is undoubtedly unclean in terms of everyday living conditions. Sometimes you may have backlogs, Pirtle stated, referring to Seawald's poor water quality. Inmates have occasionally been forced to urinate in paper sacks. Hundreds of men eating paper bags isn't exactly a picnic in Texas, where temperatures may reach 100 degrees. The water itself comes in a variety of colors, from black to clear, and can be hot or cold. Sometimes the pressure is not as high as it should be. The facilities won't be able to come fix it no matter how many times you phone. Given that Dallas may experience temperatures well over 100 degrees, Pirtle claims that some of the building's units are without air conditioning or even windows that work properly. Pirtle claimed that you're sitting in a sauna or a hot box whenever you're inside with no ventilation at all. Texas may see temperatures as low as 20 degrees below freezing. You might observe that there isn't any heat at all as you sit there. Although there has long been concern about prison conditions in the U.S., recent reports from a Texas facility have reignited the debate by exposing some of the most horrifying and demeaning behaviors found in contemporary detention. Inmates at a Texas prison, including the disgraced former reality TV star Josh Duggar, have endured extremely degrading and unhygienic conditions. Due to inadequate restroom facilities, inmates have been forced to defecate in paper bags, which is one of the most horrifying findings from this particular facility. In addition, there have been claims that inmates are made to take a shower in moldy, decaying cubicles with brown, tainted water. Widespread indignation and a much-needed discussion over the treatment of inmates in the American prison system have been triggered by these startling disclosures. Although Duggar's high-profile past has garnered media attention, the challenges he is facing are not exclusive to him. Similar, if not worse, conditions are being faced by prisoners nationwide, which raised major concerns about the moral and ethical standards of the American penal system. The purpose of this essay is to examine these alarming reports in further detail, as well as the possible effects on prisoners and the necessary steps to stop these cruel practices. The startling truth. Having to use paper bags for defecation. A troubling discovery that goes beyond common grievances about prison life is the notion that prisoners are being made to defecate in paper bags. Detainees at the Texas facility are forced to use paper bags as improvised toilets because of inadequate plumbing and cleanliness, according to a number of former detainees and relatives of convicts incarcerated there. Prison officials' negligence, inadequate facilities, and overpopulation are the main causes of this practice. Inmates complain that the toilets in their cells frequently back up or are inoperable for long periods of time as a result of plumbing system malfunction. Many people have turned to utilizing paper bags as a means of urinating since they have no other choice. The already appalling scenario is made worse by the subsequent collection and unhygienic disposal of these bags. Inmates who lack access to basic sanitation not only lose their human dignity, but also run the danger of developing health problems like infections and gastrointestinal disorders. The systemic problems with the American jail system are highlighted by the fact that this practice is taking place in a nation as developed as the United States. Prisoners should have access to sanitary facilities and clean water, regardless of the offenses they have committed. In addition to being a flagrant violation of fundamental rights, forced defecation in paper bags calls into question the standards that ought to be met in correctional facilities. Moldy showers and brown water. Health hazards in prison. The hazardous and unhygienic water conditions at this Texas jail are another startling revelation. In addition to the unsettling accounts of prisoners urinating in paper bags, inmates have been made to take showers with brown water, which is not only disagreeable but may be harmful to their health, because it can include dangerous germs, lead, and other hazardous compounds. Contaminated jail water poses a substantial risk of waterborne infections and disorders. After taking a shower, inmates complain that the brown water frequently smells terrible and leaves a residue on their skin. Numerous complaints regarding rashes, skin irritation, and other health issues have resulted from this. There is no justification for the water quality in a contemporary prison to be so bad that it endangers the health of the convicts. The fact that such conditions are accepted says a lot about how poorly the American prison system is supervised and held accountable. In addition, the moldy shower cubicles in the prison pose further health hazards. Exposure to mold can cause allergies, respiratory disorders, and other chronic health problems, especially in people who already have health difficulties. In addition to violating their fundamental rights, the fact that prisoners are made to take a shower in such hazardous conditions is a flagrant failure on the part of prison officials to maintain a secure and healthful environment. The effect on the mental health of prisoners. The psychological effects of living in such terrible conditions are just as worrisome as the physical ones. Degrading and unsafe circumstances are added to an already stressful and traumatic environment in prison, making it worse for many inmates who already battle with their mental health. Anxiety, sadness, and post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD) are more common among prisoners who endure overcrowding, filthy surroundings, and abuse from prison officials. Living in such cruel conditions might have a serious negative effect on the mental health of people like Duggar, whose misdeeds have already caused them to be publicly shamed and to experience emotional misery. Duggar's life has been examined by the public since he was found guilty of possessing child pornography and given a sentence of more than 12 years in prison. Now, as an inmate in a system that is failing, he must endure even more humiliation. Further psychological discomfort could result from the emotional toll of his conviction combined with the burden of attempting to survive in such a dehumanizing setting. The situation is made worse by the dearth of proper mental health care in American prisons. Many inmates, including those in Duggar's facility, do not receive the therapy or counseling they require to deal with the trauma they endure while incarcerated. Inmates are left to fend for themselves in a poisonous setting without these resources, which only makes their mental health problems worse. Reforming prisons. An urgent appeal. There have been other troubling allegations from this Texas prison. Inmates' health and well-being are at risk due to the overcrowding, inadequate funding, and unfavorable circumstances in many American jails. Similar circumstances, like as subpar medical care and hazardous housing conditions, are faced by prisoners in institutions around the nation. A growing movement advocating for reform has been triggered by the jail system's failure to address these problems. Those who support prison reform are working to improve the conditions and treatment of prisoners, enhancing access to sanitary facilities, decreasing overcrowding, expanding mental health services, and making sure prisoners get respect and dignity are some of the main areas of concentration. Proponents contend that rather than exposing prisoners to dehumanizing conditions that only serve to reinforce cycles of trauma and violence, the prison system should place more of an emphasis on rehabilitation and less on punishment, providing them with the resources they need to reintegrate into society. Accountability is also crucial. The public, legislators, and prison officials must hold the system responsible for how inmates are treated, to make sure that conditions are tracked and that adjustments are made when needed. The jail system must be transparent. In summary, the importance of a humanitarian strategy. The disclosure that Duggar and other prisoners at a Texas prison are being made to shower with brown water and defecate in paper bags is a wake-up call for the American prison system. These cruel circumstances make it clear that extensive reform is required to guarantee that convicts get respect and dignity. Even if Duggar and other criminals have done grave crimes that call for punishment, it is also critical to acknowledge that the jail system must uphold fundamental human rights including secure housing, proper healthcare, and sanitary circumstances.